or hate it? Drop a comment below. I have a pet peeve with these things. Um, I've been looking for investment properties, all over the place, and I've seen these like all white houses starting to pop up everywhere. I saw them in the Tampa area. I've seen them in the Miami area. I saw them in Metro Detroit. I think I've seen one out in Colorado pop up. They all look the same, like it's possibly the same designer architect, but they're everywhere. And I saw one in Birmingham. You can see where my mouse is here. It's brick on the side that's painted white, which I always felt like painting brick was such a bastardist thing to do. And then this is kind of like siding up here, or I forgot what they call that, hardy plank or something like that. And then some of it's just all, I mean, looking at that window framing, that might be some kind of plank or siding. It just looks very cheaply built, and then sometimes they do this with the darker window frames or huge chunks of glass, and it looks nice because the glass is there. But then you look at how the house is constructed, you're like, wow, that's really a cheap way of building. And that's my issue when you're looking at a $3.6 million home. And these aren't people designing them and building them. A lot of them are spec homes. So they're coming in, they're buying a property for like $1 million. They're tearing it down just for the lot, which is essentially paying $1 million for a 3/4 acre of a lot. And then they build these spec homes. And they try to make them look as nice as possible. But then I just question how much profit is baked into this. I just feel like you're better off possibly... the ones I saw down in Florida were probably, I look at them, I'm like, man, how much is the builder making on this? Because I just don't know if like anyone would go design a house that way and then charge that kind of money. Or I don't know. I just feel like for $3.6 million, I don't see any stone. I don't see any copper. I'm painting over brick. What? I don't know. And I know this is just a rendering, but this style of home in general, I'm looking at properties all over the country. It's like, that looks familiar. That looks familiar. That looks what? And I'm like, man, these things are really, and you start, like, they're putting them on blocks where it's traditionally brick homes, stone homes, some stucco, early 1920s, a lot of older stuff. And then they drop these like 6,000 square foot white houses. They look out of place. I don't know. Have you seen these things popping up? I've seen more and more and more of them, and it's just a style where it's all white, and it doesn't seem like they're using a lot of expensive materials on the outside. It's what do you think about painting over brick? It just it infuriates me. You ever been in looked at real estate in New York and Chicago, and then there was a cool loft, and then someone painted over the brick? You're like, damn it. The same people that like put carpet over hardwood floors drive you insane. I don't know why these things just like irritate me. I just, if I'm building a home right now, even for myself or a spec, and I'm doing something between $3 and $4 million, do the square footage on that at 6,000 square feet. Ooh. I feel like I want to bring more to the table. What have you spent an extra $200,000 on the exterior for some stone and brick and copper and that type of stuff? So this would be 3.8. Do you think you're pricing yourself out of the market at that point? Is this a bunch of baked in profit? Does anyone know? Or is this just what people want right now? And that's why I'm seeing it pop up all over the place. It's one thing when I started seeing them around here, and then when I started shopping around other cities, I'm like, man, this is the same style over and over and over. Same thing. Peak here, the peak here, door, 2-car garage. And sometimes they'll have some windows here, and then back here will be the garage. Or I saw one that had like a 4-car garage right here or something. But the same thing, white painted brick, some kind of other material up here painted. A lot of times I am seeing the darker windows and larger windows, but I looked at the house, and like my first home, I built it. I I worked with the architect. I designed it. I hired all the contractors. I bought all the materials. Like, I know what it takes to build a home. I went through that process. And I look at this and it's like, man, I don't feel like, let's just say it's 2.6 million because they probably spent $1 million on the property. It still doesn't feel like $2.6 million. Maybe on the interior they went crazy, but I don't want to spend 3.6 on anything in this world and not feel like I got my money's worth. And maybe it is worth it. It just doesn't look like it's worth it to me. So, I don't know. What do you think of these homes? Hate them? Love them? What's your opinion? Drop a comment below.